Hey guys, what's up? We have a pedal from TC Electronics called the Ditto X2 Looper. This looper is pretty awesome, and here's why. So the other loopers that are out there, the Jam Man, the Boss, RC, whatever they have now, and the Boomerang phrase sampler, all those are really complex loopers. So if I handed those loopers to someone and said, hey, put on a loop for me, I feel like they'd have a hard time initially figuring out the controls and what all they can do with it. Now with the Ditto Looper, it's awesome because it's super simplistic, and once you take it out of the box right away, you can start creating loops very easily. It's not a very hard product to use. Alright, so let's start talking about some of the controls of this thing. So on the left here, that's your loop switch. That's pretty much going to control all of your recording and playback and overdubbing functionality. So if you press the switch once, the loop switch on the left, you start recording. And then once you press it after that, you go back into playback mode. So if you press it once, it's going to record what you play. So I just recorded an F chord in record mode. Now we're in playback mode. You press the switch again, you start doing overdubs. And if you don't like your overdub, you can hold the switch and it will have an undo function. And what that does is that takes out the loop you just put in. So now you have just a bass loop again. So now to stop these loops, you have a few different options, but let's just talk about what you can do with the left pedal right now. So you can double tap it, and that stops the loop temporarily. But you see the flashing LED, that tells you that there's still a loop in there. So what you can do is you can stop it, and then you press it again, and it starts playing. Now if you want to clear to put in another loop, what you have to do is hit the double tap. And on the first tap, you just tap it, and the second time, you hold it down. Then once that LED is gone, that tells you that the looper is ready to go for a new loop. So now let's talk about what's on the other side. This is your effects switch. So the effects switch works with these the switch up here. Okay, and it's a three-way selector. And basically on the top, you have reverse. In the middle, you have half speed, and on the bottom, you have stop. Okay, so let's talk about reverse. So what reverse does is it takes the audio of your loop that you made and turns it around and reverses it. So if I play, and this is real nice for chords because it makes a nice sweeping sound. So if I just play this. And now I'm going to press the reverse switch, and it's going to make a nice sweeping noise. because it's playing that chord backwards. Now, one thing you should know is when I switched it, I played F and then D minor. So when you switch it, it reverses your chord progression because it's taking the whole file and playing it backwards. So if I played F then D minor, when the reverse function is on, the progression changes to D minor then F. If that makes sense. I hope you guys followed that. So that's the reverse function. And what's cool about the reverse function, if I record a regular loop, and then I put it in reverse, and then I play a loop over this, and I switch it back, you have a reverse loop over top of a regular loop. Okay. Alright, so now let's talk about the half speed. So this is pretty straightforward. It pretty much takes your loop and stretches it and doubles the time. And doing that, it also knocks it down an octave. And I'll show you what I mean real quick here. We'll do another F chord loop. Alright, so that's a sloppy F chord loop. Now I have it on the half function on the right switch, so I'm going to press it and it's going to double the time and lower the octave. So if you record in this mode too, what it's going to do, it's going to take what you record and squish it. I'll show you what I mean. So now let's turn that loop off and take off the half speed. So what it did with the loop I recorded in the half speed, it shortened the time and it took it up an octave. Let's talk about the stop function. The stop function's super useful to have on an isolated switch itself. So before, when you had to stop a loop, you had to double tap it and hold the second time. And that can be pretty tough if you want to stop a loop perfectly on time with your music. So let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so to stop the loop on the left switch, you have to double tap it, which for the life of me, I can't actually get to do in time. See, there I recorded. So I got it there, but you heard the downbeat still. So now if I have it on the stop function on the left, you can stop it whenever you want. And then you press the playback again on the left and it's there. You can also clear this with the stop switch on the right. So all you have to do is press it once and hold it. And you're clear. Alright. So now let's talk about knobs. So this only has one knob. All this is the volume knob. So I'll show you what I mean here, and it's pretty simple. So all the volume knob does, changes the volume of your loop. Cool. Alright, so let's talk about input and output. Alright, so the Ditto X2 has stereo ins and outs. So that means you can run stereo information into the Ditto and it'll still come out as stereo information depending on where you put your stereo outputs. So right now I have a more Re-Echo Pro on the ping pong setting so that it ping pongs the delay left and right. So I have my left channel going out to my Fender Champ, and I have my right channel going out to a blackface Fender as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play the stereo ping pong for you real quick here. Okay, and we're going to do a loop with that just to show you that the Ditto X2 maintains your stereo signal throughout the loops. So as you can hear, the ping pong delay is still there after the looper, because it's going from the right channel going into my blackface Fender, and then the left channel is going into my Fender Champ. So another way you can use the Ditto X2 stereo outs is as two separate mono outs. So right now I have my guitar running into the left channel, and I have my friend playing keyboard going into the right channel, and they're going to go out to their recording outputs, and the keyboard's going straight into Logic, and my guitar is going straight into my amp. Alright, so let's go ahead and record a track doing that. So, we just recorded a track of me playing guitar and him playing piano into Logic, and it was a wonderful performance. But that's just to show you that you can run two people through this looper at the same time. All right, so let's talk about the inputs and outputs of the Ditto X2. So you have two inputs and two outputs. You have a mono input and a stereo input and matching outputs. Another way to think about this is that this will be your left and your right. So this is your left input, this is your left output, this is your right input, this is your right output. Now, like I said, you can think of this as two mono tracks as well. So like before, in the example, I had my guitar going into input 1, and my guitar amp going to output 1, and my keyboard going into input stereo, and my output stereo was going to Logic. So I was recording directly through Logic from the piano. So you can think about this as either stereo or as just two separate mono tracks. Over here you have your power adapter, and if you can see that, it says 100 milliamps, so be sure whatever power supply you're using, you get at least 100 milliamps of power going to it, because that will give you the least amount of noise with this pedal, and it lets this pedal operate at full functionality. Now, this is your USB. This is used so that you can import or export recorded tracks from your looper. And then this switch we didn't talk about yet, so we're talking about it now. This is a switch. It's not like the other one where it goes to a position and stays in that position. It goes up to whatever you select and then switches back to the middle, because it's more like a button. It's like two different buttons. So on top here you have store. So if you record a loop that you really like and you want to store it and then export it to your computer later, you can do that by hitting store. And then this is your backing track level. So pretty much if you import a backing track into your looper and you start playing it, if you hold this down, you can adjust the volume knob for the backing track level. And then once you let go, it's your loop level. So you can have those two independent tracks going at once. So hold down to change the backing track level, let it go to change the loop level. Now, if you hold up while the loop is not playing, it will delete the loop off of your X2. So I just went on the TC Electronics website and downloaded a drum loop, and put it into the Ditto Looper. So this is to show you what the switch on the left does up here. So I'm going to go ahead and play you the loop. The one thing I will say is that the loops on TC Electronics website are very long. Like, I believe this is a 32 bar phrase, so you have to loop. You have to play 32 bars of a loop before you can even overdub. I'd rather have shorter length backing tracks myself. Anyways, so I'm going to record a loop over that loop, and I'll show you what the left switch does after that. So I've just recorded a loop over the backing track I downloaded from TC's website, and it sounds a little something like this. So the main volume knob controls the overall volume of both the loop and the backing track. Now, the switch on the left, if you switch it down, let me say that again, the switch on the left, if you switch it down and you hold it down and adjust the volume knob while you're holding it down, it adjusts the level of only the backing track. Let me show you what I mean. So the guitar, you saw the drums fade out and the guitar just turned off because I forgot to turn it back up. So the loop level is still at 12 o'clock. And like I said, this is the master volume when you're not holding down this switch. Now if I hold down that switch again, it came back because I held it down when the volume knob was at noon, or just about noon. So if you hold down the switch on the left, you adjust the backing track volume. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is how you store loops and how you save what you've done. So let's say I like this thing I did over this drum loop, which is just a chord progression. Okay, so I like this, all right? So what you do is on the left one, you put up. That flashing means that it was saved to your looper. So what that means is that even when you turn the looper off, it's still going to be there. So let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to unplug it from my power supply here. And then right away you'll see that it's blinking again. So it blinks because of the drum loop is on there, but it's also blinking because my loop is on there. So if I turn it back on, it's going to have the drum loop as well as the guitar loop on there. Storing it lets you save it to your computer. So with the USB port on the back of the looper, you plug it into your computer and you drag and drop that that WAV file, or it's either, depending on Windows, it's a WAV file. If it's Mac, it's a AIFF file. So it saves as that onto here, and then you drag it out of Finder or however you do it on Windows. And then you got your loop onto your computer. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is how to take your backing tracks off your looper. So we have the drum track on there right now, and say we need to get it off because we need to play a show and we don't need the drum track on there. Alright, so that's really easy. So the dip switch on the left, or it's not, I guess it's not a dip switch, the switch on the left, you have two options there. It is to store, and then under store it says a really small font that says hold to delete. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold that up, and it's going to completely clear the looper of all backing tracks and all stored tracks. So now our looper is completely clear. So now when I press the button, you don't hear a drum track, it goes right into recording mode. Alright guys, so that was the Ditto X2 Looper by TC Electronic, and I'm Jay Kricket. Please like and subscribe and comment and let me know what you think about the pedal. And I'm pretty sure I went over everything I could think of. If I forgot something, please put it in the comments and let me know, and inform all the other pedal heads about the features that I missed out on. So, if you're wondering what the other pedal was in the video, it was the More Re-Echo Pro. I highly recommend this delay pedal. It's great. And the other thing you saw on the board was a power supply. That is the Pedal Train Volto by pedal train. And that's a great little supply to have. It fits right under the pedal train mini and whatever else you're going to use, and it's good for powering low powered pedals. So alright, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.